Hey everyone, welcome back to Skate. I'm Incetic. With me again is Blank Tester.
Hey kids, how's it going?
Matt Rocks 101.
Hey, I'm Matt.
And Zindictive.
Sup, lads?
So last time we got a board sponsor. I went with Almost, and so now it's time to continue on the main series. And that's a funny coincidence, haha, that I did a Thrasher Hall of Meat thing there. I totally wrecked myself because in this video we're really gonna introduce and get into the Thrasher kind of the mission stuff.
Okay.
You know, last time I showed up and I did that corner ledge grind and did a little film for them, but here it's gonna really get into the things that'll give me a bunch of the Thrasher missions, same as for Skateboard Mag. So here we go.
Okay, camera's on. We're rolling.
Hey guys, this is Freeway.
Why are you filming?
That's what he does. He films skateboarding.
Great. I'm going skating with a filmer and a photographer. Who's this guy, my sketch artist?
I said it was all right if you came along.
Whatever. Don't come crying to me if you fall or get hit or something.
It's cool.
Yeah, whatever. I'm heading down to Slappy's to pick up some bearings first. Oh yeah, Slappy said he had something to show you at the shop. Said you'd be stoked.
Let's roll.
All right, so we got this Freeway guy. He doesn't want all the glitz and the glamour and the people following him. He just wants to skate for himself.
Wasn't this in
But let
Tony
me tag
Hawk?
along.
What? Wasn't this in Tony Hawk too? No, not Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, like the one that came out the same year as this. There was a guy that didn't want the glitz and the glamour. He just wanted to skate.
I mean, it's not like skateboarding has a lot of really out there character types. If you're doing something,
Proving ground. This guy was in Proving Ground.
This guy
wasn't he? He was the
particular?
rear
Someone
guy.
with a similar train of mind or something.
Yeah. A similar, I don't know, similar name.
yeah,
but he
it's
looks
not
similar too.
it's not an incredibly original archetype of someone who wants art for the sake of art rather than for the sake of the audience or whatever. Like,
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's just a weird coincidence that these two.
I mean, it's
exact
the
character
same
types
kind
showed
of
up in-
like, it's the same kind of like
Exactly right next to each
skateboard personality of like, man, things were better when they weren't fucking sellouts and skateboarding was in underground zone and such.
yeah.
Yeah.
They said in this sellout video game.
I don't know if this is a sellout.
Oh, you know
video
what I
game.
mean. I love when that stuff shows up in the very medium they're criticizing.
Yeah, I mean, it's this guy is leading you to the other skate shop, and so he's gonna start the Thrasher kind of thing. But then for Thrasher, you still gotta film, you still gotta do photos, to make
Oh
the
my God.
magazine and such better. Yeah.
The AI
I hate
is so
the cars
good.
in this game, but I love the cars in this game. Anytime, like,
It's a
the
love-hate
cars
relationship.
get in my way, I hate them, but every time I smack into them while I'm just riding around and it's funny, I love it.
Yeah. It's all about the funny.
Are you serious? My first shot in Thrasher. Sick.
You're the one in Mikey's photo. How serendipitous. It's a nice photo. You make a good
What
team.
the hell? That was supposed to be my photo.
Yeah. Grind this, flip that, whatever. When was the last time somebody ran a shot of a hill bomb, huh? I have an idea. Why don't you show our new friend what you think skating's all about? Take him to one of your little races. Hold on, excuse me, I gotta get this.
Oh,
Yeah.
Slappy.
Just show us
yeah.
what it's all about.
So again, yeah, this is the second skate shop. You have the regs back up in the res or whatever. See, those are two really similar. But then which is again about the skateboard mag, the red path. But then down here is Slappy's, which will be the main hub for the Thrasher path.
And much like our cameraman, I really like Slappy a lot. He's one of my favorite characters of the game as well. He's just...
Yeah.
No
And so
shit's
also
given.
in the Thrasher path, there will be some other kinds of challenges like death races.
Death races.
Oh,
going
shit.
crazy
Yeah, so we're
thing.
getting introduced to those. It'll be, a race.
To
That
death.
to death.
Death!
or at least with a lot of cars in the way.
I'm gonna be really interested in your opinion on death races.
Death races are one of those things where, obviously, I'm not coming into this completely blind. Sure, I haven't played the series before, but I could still see other people playing it, and I could see what other people have learned and do to succeed well enough along the way. So, like, I know, for example, you don't have to hit every gate. Sure, hitting, any gate will give you more time, and you don't want to skip so many gates you run out of time, but if there's one that's really out of your way, you don't have to hit it. So that alone makes death races easier than if I thought hitting every gate was mandatory. So death races to me are not that much of a problem. The biggest problem there is obviously, they're putting you in danger by often having you go down streets and stuff. And again, with this one locked camera angle, your guy is kind of big, but you can just, lie down on your board and coffin when you really need more screen space.
Wow. That's beautiful.
That's one of the things that I wish, this was a thing back in Pro Skater 4 Tony Hawk game, where, you had the missions where you were on your back in some of the missions, and I wish they did that more, because it really showcases how much, stupid fun that can be to just ride on your back on the skateboard, downhill and all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't hate death races, and I never take so long trying to beat one that I, wish they weren't in the game. It is kind of weird, with how trying to really follow the actual skateboarding scene this game is doing, with having this thing that feels like, does anyone actually really do that?
Hill bombing? Yeah, hill bombing's a thing people do.
Huh.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big deal.
Okay.
Why are you guys looking so haggard?
Oh, death racing, man.
I don't see any body bags. Shut up.
He's pissed because he got beat by Photo G.
I had flat spots. Well, if Photo G can take out Freeway in a deathless death race, he must have something going for him.
Yeah, dude, you hauled ass.
I'll tell you what. Drop by and skate our park whenever you want. You've earned it. Maybe you can get in Sammy's way and piss her off, too.
I love how the cutscene, ran out of, film.
Yeah.
Had to fade to
Holy
black.
shit.
They ran out of animation halfway through it or something.
Yeah, so now here's where, the first full set of, Thrasher things spawned, and it's, some more photo parts or video parts or jams or death races. And you saw there that, hitting the right bumper to see what your filming challenges were. Now there's a red camera icon and a green camera icon. So again, it's two paths, sort of, but it's not like one or the other. You do want to go through both to get through your career.
I do want to say one thing. I think, and I like this a lot, that this game represented hill bombing very well, which is, whenever you got those big hills and you ride down them without, falling and dying, that's a skill, and it's not, really represented in any of the Tony Hawk games, but this game's physics is, really good at showing speed the way Tony Hawk's isn't. So, whenever you go down those big hills, you feel it.
Yeah, but I guess
it's, really thrilling.
I guess the most enjoyment you can get out of it is how much you like downhill stuff of skateboarding games, because I remember Rad Rat really not liking all the downhill stuff in the skate games. So,
I guess that's his problem. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I think it's fun.
I would rather do a death race than have to try to get 6,000 points all within a no skate zone.
Same.
The death races don't get as hard as the end game, filming challenges
I think
do.
death races stay about the same all the way through.
Yeah, but speaking of, then, if you were looking down at kind of Thrasher's filming challenges they give you, those will ask you to do things maybe in specific areas, be a little more anti-authority, or put different parts of skating all together. You have to stay in a no-skate zone and get all your points there, or, you have to do a certain amount of grinding, but also a certain amount of grabs, combining big air and street elements. Compared to, the skateboard mag ones, which might really focus more on just big air or grinding and street elements,
Yeah.
So the Thrasher ones will kind of push you to either use a more limited location or more specific locations, or put every part of this game together.
That car just spawned in front of you.
It'll happen.
It happens. It's cause.
In real life, yeah.
I'm getting some like GTA vibes from how that car spawned in front of you.
Oh, turns out the hardest thing to do is get over a curb.
It
Yeah.
really is in this game, yeah.
But yeah, like we also saw that more, many parts of the area will open to us. Like now we have this DIY skate park that was locked off before, but now we can ride in it.
All right, so when you see up there at the top, that's that spot you can drop in from. You're not supposed to. On that roof. That roof. You're not supposed to be able to get on that roof up there. But if you glitch onto that ledge, you can ride over to the roof, jump on it, and jump off, and get like 1,000 points dropping in from the roof above.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
I loved doing that stuff as a kid. I have to talk about it.
Yeah,
It's
no.
all I did.
I appreciate it, and maybe that's the way to show kids, I don't know, how to do it.
Yeah, the game loves
Make
very
sure it's
speed
not
and
multiple
youngsters
times.
these days, you didn't have to fucking grind for hours to figure out how to get up there. You just watch a tutorial. Back then it was whispers on forums of how to access zones. It was a fight to see who could get the coolest glitched video parts.
Lost to time.
knowledge.
It was.
Yeah,
It
you
was.
had to speak to the 6 skate sages to figure out all the clues to get this sacred text.
Yeah.
If you want to commit to that double backflip, you're gonna have to create a blood sacrifice.
Yeah.
I only never did a double backflip once. I don't know. I should boot this game up and see how many tricks I can actually still do.
But you have done a blood sacrifice.
I have, yeah. I had to do it to do the double backflip.
That's a common skating maneuver.
That's true.
Okay, so I know we're 5 parts in, we're like hours into this LP, but now it's time to look at the grabs part of the trick book. Because again, the triggers are emulating kind of what arm you're doing, and then like using the right stick will emulate sort of what part of the board you reach for, but that means that the more advanced grabs start to be like, to do one, you need to do, right stick in a certain way that may be based on what stance you're in, then a specific trigger grab that may be based on what stance you're in, then a right stick pull in a different way to tweak it, and at that point, when like just jumping and doing a grab involves a total string of inputs of like down on the right stick, up on the right stick, a certain direction on the right stick, a certain trigger, a certain other direction on the right stick, it's like game. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
This is maybe a little too much.
This is
Like,
why.
how far do you really want to go to try to make things like, to try to emulate, something in a certain way, like,
Pretty much.
body parts lining up to triggers or pushing us,
What I think is interesting about that is a lot of those tricks are the same exact trick, just reversed.
Yeah,
So-
ultimately, when it comes to
They
a lot
have
of the
different
tricks and
names.
such, like,
Yeah.
you just kind of blank out on that, and sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't. Unless the game specifically wants that certain trick, just do whatever, honestly.
I was gonna say, like,
Whatever feels
they
good.
have different names and they're counted as different tricks, but a lot of them are just the same exact trick, but you did it facing the opposite direction, and that's like the only difference.
Yeah, like that's why I gravitate to like Christ air or no foot air, because like one of the triggers plus B will always work no matter what stance I'm in, compared to where, sometimes like, I don't know, up right stick, left trigger, left right stick might be a grab if I'm in one stance, but would not be in the other one.
Really? Because I thought pretty much. Oh, I guess it depends on which direction.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
facing.
it
Yeah.
depends on whether you're goofy or not.
I want a reliable trick that I know I will do when I'm in the air trying to do something.
Regardless of stance, you can always grab one of the tricks and just move the stick around to make him do a trick. It just
Yeah, and that's again, I guess, something where I don't know exactly how much more points an advanced grab gives you over, a reliable...
I'm going to tell you one thing. All advanced grabs are worth the exact same, and you could use that to exploit the fact that they're all counted as different tricks. To do one, go to it the other way, do the exact same trick again, but it's counted as a different trick now.
Yeah, kinda.
You can exploit the fuck out of the fact that every inputs from different stances, the exact same input will count as 2 different tricks. To like get your to not have the trick what's it
Repeat.
called? Yeah, to not have the trick repeat, even though you are technically doing the exact same input. Really, you're doing the exact same trick. It's just counted as a different trick.
God.
Yeah, I mean, that's a classic thing in video games,
Yeah.
a regular grab versus a switch, same grab. Like, I think even in the SSX series, let you do the same Uber trick once as long as you were Switch, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so now you're seeing all the different ways of, you know, crouching down and pumping. You know, as the game wants you to use the left stick, Turo mentioned just, you know, using one of the triggers to grab your board is also technically having you, like, crouch down and use your knees. Which got me to think, wait, then would also just holding down the right stick, like prepping for an ollie, work as well? If it's really just like the crouching down that the game is looking for?
Does it
And I
work?
think that is. And so that's also a lot easier than also trying to hold forward on the left stick, and then if you want to turn, you know, also trying to hold left or right on that same thing.
I had no idea. I never even did
Yeah,
that.
that makes sense.
Yeah, like again, if the game is
pump.
really just looking for you to like crouch down, then, you know, prepping an ollie has you crouch down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be darned.
Physics.
Physics, baby.
Yeah.
PhysX, I love that engine.
I'd really like Connor to try Death Stranding skateboarding. That was my shit in Death Stranding.
Oh,
You can't do
man.
any tricks, but you can ride a. Well, it's not really a board.
Doing sick jumps over the freaking evil ooze.
Yeah.
Yeah, doing a backflip over the evil ooze.
I love in Death Stranding whenever you can do like a no foot switch foot 360 over the ooze.
Uh-huh.
And like
Yeah.
a little
Over
thing
the-
shows up at the
That's
bottom.
what
That's
Kojima
like,
named it to, the evil ooze.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love. What's the coolest part is every time you do, an announcer comes on and goes like Misty to a front flip,
Yeah.
2 times the tricks. It's like
Kojima
wow.
ripped
Dinner
the
roll.
straight
Dinner
from
roll.
John
I love
Williams,
doing a
yeah.
dinner roll over the evil ooze. It's so great.
The evil
I gotta
ooze,
play
yeah.
more.
Tray flip the ooze.
That was a bullshit mission
Sensational.
though. Tray flipping the ooze. It's really hard to pull off flip tricks in that game. So
And
Yeah.
then, like, you land it, and the camera cuts to in front of your guy, Sam Bridges or whatever, and he gets off the board, and, you know, he shows his shoe. You know, he slides his shoe right up to the camera, and it's like some Nike shoe,
Yeah.
you know.
Sponsored shoe.
Sponsored, and then,
really
yeah,
weird,
it covers
yeah.
his sponsors for, like, his hover skateboard, his,
Yeah.
it's a weird game.
his
Death
trucks, his
Stranding was a
electric
really weird game.
carburetor, all those.
And of course, he drinks Monster the whole time.
right.
And then
That
all of
really
a
weird
sudden,
game,
Tony
wasn't
Hawk
it?
pops up out of nowhere and throws a skateboard at you.
Yeah.
You know, Monster's in this game too. These are connected. Monster is a sponsor in this game as well.
So, alright, that previous bowl was, like, alright, but it was pretty easy to jump out of it, so if we really want to see grabs, you know, head up to this kind of drained sewer area. These are the biggest half-pipes, like, in the game, until you get to the X Games. But, you know, in the main world. And so in here, you can really, you know, get the air to check and play around with the different, okay, push the right stick one way, grab with the trigger, then push it the other way to get a mute tweaked shifty or whatever.
Misty to a front flip.
Yeah. And again, with, you
Sensational.
know, yeah, pumping and
Sensational.
such,
Here you are
you'll
doing the
actually get
dinner
some pretty
roll.
big air. Do the rocket.
Maybe I have some bias,
Oh,
but
you almost had it. You
yeah,
almost had
I have
it.
some
That would've been
bias,
so
but
sick.
I really love the vert stuff in this game compared to straight. I find being on the bowls and such to be incredibly fun.
Hey, you know what sucks is there's all those skate sims that are out now, like Skater XL and what's the other one? Session.
Session.
Yeah.
And they really don't have the vert down like Skate 1 did, and that still bums me out. That's why I don't play them as much. Because I like them. I think a lot of them have the street down really well, but like Skate, a lot of people forget Skate had vert, and it was like fun to fly up in the air in this
And
game.
the thing is, Session wasn't even going to have vert originally until the Kickstarter where, you know, enough was backed in that they could bring vert in. And they didn't do much with it as far as I can find.
Not yet. They're still working on it. I think it's really Skate 1. Like, I think it's kind of sad how we don't really have sims like this with huge budgets. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like I was talking with Connor like the other month about how I liked Skater XL and I liked Session, but they made me kind of sad because we'll never. Well, I guess Skate 4 is coming out, but until that, like. These were big budget games. Like, these costed money. Like, professionals made this. And now we just have, like, little indie guys trying to, you know, make their own little sims, and they just don't have the same budget. They don't have the same big worlds. They don't have the same, like, anything, you know
I
what
want
I
to
mean?
add to this conversation. So yeah, and so I gotta say, like, again, I've played Session once, and that was a while ago, so they've definitely updated since then. I've never played Skater XL, but playing Skate 1, I get it. I get what those games are trying to go for, but just aren't doing as well because they don't have, you know, the dev team, the time,
the polish,
the money, or
the
whatever.
money.
You know, so playing those and being like, this has not fully come together. Like, what are they trying to do? This doesn't... I'm not feeling what other people are saying these games are giving them that feeling of. But then playing Skate 1, where, again, doing, like, a single good flip trick onto a grind and grinding in the way you want, and then popping out and having that feel really cool, I get it. I get what those games are trying to emulate.
Plus, I mean, I feel like there is a massive bias of Session Skater XL where it's very, like, straightforward. And I feel like they need to really bring in all of the skate culture, you know? The verts, the Flatlanders, all of them. Because it's not just street that makes skateboarding what it is and what is so special about it. It is the whole package. And I think Skate does that very well.
It's a shame Skate never really had, like, cool Flatland stuff in it. I think if back then, if they were going to make a Skate 4, they would have definitely added Flatland, but
yeah,
it stopped.
I'm
at
also
Skate 3.
curious how much Skate 4 is going to try to evolve with the times versus sticking to the Skate, obviously Skate 3 style of gameplay. Like, you know, how much are they going to change things up? Or will your instincts from previous Skate games pay off in Skate 4? I don't know.
See.
I don't know. It'd be interesting.
we'll have to see.
If they gave me Skate 3, but I could do Vert, or not Vert. I'm sorry. I could do what's it? Flatland. I'd buy that.
I wonder if. I was just gonna say. I wonder if. Yeah.
I was just gonna say. Although, please give me the open world from Skate 1 and 2 again. I'd like that as well. Thank you. Because half the fun really was just like skating around and finding like lines that link together that weren't marked on the map. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, you could start here and go down this. You know that bike game we all played? What was it called? We still play. I still play. Descenders. You know the community maps in Descenders, the
Street
giant like
Dirt?
mega maps.
Oh, no.
And where you start at one thing and you go down this path and you're like, oh my god, this actually leads to like another zone and this leads to another zone. Skate 1 and 2 have that. Where like you go down into the spillway and you're like, oh my god, the spillway leads to like a spot where I can do vert, and then if I keep going down the spillway path, there's like actual like way more shit down here. Like I could start up here, start a line, and go all the way down it.
Yeah, I honestly feel like when it comes to skateboard developers, Black Box, in my opinion, was pretty high up there alongside of Neversoft. Sure, they're like very different in what genre and such of skateboarding, but when it comes to how hard they hit and how good they are, they're fucking good.
Yeah, like Skate 1 and 2 had a really good world. Skate 3 didn't have a connected one. They tried. I guess they just didn't have the time. Skate 3 felt really rushed.
Yeah, I mean, for being a first entry, you know, sure, there is stuff like you can't get off your board and you're gonna get stuck a bunch, or the fucking AI happens to be in the same bowl
Oh
and
my
totally
God.
Run that
ruins
guy
my
over.
film, kind of thing, but yeah, just the free skate element and chaining things together is really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, then the AI decides to session the same fucking bowl at the same fucking time as you and ruins your film attempt.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's like weird that that sort of thing was like a staple. You know what I mean? Like just having that sort of dynamic AI, like you kind of, I wouldn't say you take it for granted because I find it more annoying and I was better off without it, but like you don't see that in like Skater XL. There's no one else on those streets. It's just you. Because these are
so barren
like,
in those games.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you don't
again,
really think about it.
I wonder, like, obviously, with those guys' case, skateboarding video games hadn't really been a thing for some time, so they really had to start out, you know, indie-funded and showing you every development along the way. But, you know, you look at those and, you know, sure, they're getting closer, but all the animations and stuff still looks like really canned. You know, like, you'll do a kickflip and then your guy will just, you know, magnetize and be done with it perfectly halfway through the air. Versus you look at the animations back at Skate 1 and they just look really good and stuff. And it almost just kind of feels like oh god, we have to play through you guys slowly figuring out the best way of doing everything, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame. It's like I said, like I don't blame them, but
And
like,
again, like
you take for granted how big of a budget and big and mainstream something like Skate was when you see other people without that big budget try to make the same game.
Skate 1 just drops as this amazing game with a great physics system and whatever, and you can just play it at its best, basically, you know, immediately as soon as you get it.
there's a reason
Versus,
why.
like,
wild.
just crowdfunded video games in general. I mean, you know, the ones that go badly are still always the biggest stories. Will Session ever get it right? Will Skater XL ever get it right? You know?
Yeah.
How much time and money will people let them have? You know, not saying they're doing a bad job.
Oh yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna say they're getting closer, but yeah, exactly that. It's like, dang, it's like I really, like even as good as they are, like they still are nowhere close to this, and it's kind of sad to me.
A lot of times those projects that don't really ever succeed, I think the reason they don't ever succeed is, in many cases, is because they never set a precise goal for what their vision is supposed to be, right? Like, if they had a game director with a strong vision from the jump, then they can just say, like, okay, even if people don't like what we've made, I set out to do this, and we did that. We accomplished that goal. And a lot of times these game developers are like, well, we're going to keep developing it until people really like it, and people will constantly have nitpicks and tweaks and things. And it'll be like, we're going to get closer and closer to version 1.0, but we're on version 0.98 for a long time, you know, adding little features here and there.
As someone who
And then 1.0 rolls out and everyone goes, it's broken. And it's like, okay, well, they didn't have a strong vision to begin with.
As someone who made a game, I will
budget.
say the part that was hardest was finding the stopping point where you're like, I can't. I think it's done. Like I'm happy with it. that's
Like
that's a
scale
really hard
creep.
Like the feature creep is hard whenever you make a sort of open-ended game. It's like there's so much more I can add, and like I have to stop myself from trying to add stuff because when you add a feature, you have to babysit that feature after you add it. That feature doesn't exist in a vacuum. Like, that feature's... whether you mean it to or not, it's going to be touched by other code you've written or other features you've developed. So, once you add, I don't know, this, then you got to babysit that and make sure that what you've added doesn't break anything else that's in your game
like,
already.
Does Session or Skater XL have a strong timeline to point to of when they'll roll things out? Do any of them have a strong, like, middle director who's saying, we need to focus on the physics system and get that to look really good first?
I think Skater XL did, and they released like 1.0, but it was just very, like I like Skater XL, don't get me wrong, but it was very bare bones.
Honestly,
release.
Skater XL, from what I can find, is so reliant on the community adding to it rather than them adding it themselves. Session, I think, are trying, like, they want to add more to it. They want to bring more for Session, but it's just taken so long.
Yeah, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with those two approaches, right? User-directed versus game-directed. You know, like, we tell you exactly the experience we want you to have, and here it is. Versus make your own fun, make your own experience. I think that second process would probably work better with a community that is already used to making their own fun in places like the skating community. Mm-hmm. You know.
Now, Connor, you said you played Session. What do you think of Session's controls versus Skate's?
And again, it was years ago when I played Session. So...
which one do you like better?
Really can't remember per se.
I was gonna say
I can
I
kind of
still
remember,
prefer Skate's
and
controls.
all I can really say about it is the analog stick thing is much more intuitive than Skate was, but it was also much more limited in what you can do compared to what Skate offers.
I feel like Skate matches a fine line between arcadey and sim. And, like, both Skater XL and Session make you steer with the triggers, and I find that to be really hard to be precise with, unlike this, which, I mean, granted, there might be less tricks in this, but I can at least, like, use a stick to turn precisely instead of
why would
having
you
to
make
keep
turning
tapping
be
the triggers.
Yeah.
In both those games, you have to keep tapping triggers, and I don't know why, other than maybe they're afraid of infringing on some sort of control patent that EA has.
No
for
way.
Skate.
I mean,
No way.
But both of them have that exact same control scheme where I have to tap my triggers to turn, and it's awful.
So I wonder, does it work better with a controller that has like, oh my gosh, what's it called? Like pressure sensitivity? Is that like, does that work better there, where like you press harder and you turn farther? Or is it just not?
It's not as good. I feel like analog stick turning is just better than using the triggers.
Because, like, I know, like, I remember I had the Steam controller for a long time, and not for a long time, but for a while, and it had some really interesting features that you could map to things in-game. Like, for example, I would use it for some first-person shooters, and then you could make it so that when you hold left trigger, it also activates the gyroscope and uses that in addition to the thumbstick for aiming. So I could, like, very carefully aim a sniper scope by holding left trigger and then tilting my controller, which was a unique way to play, and it actually gave me an edge in some games.
I was gonna say, wasn't that
a lot of games don't have? I never played any multiplayer games like that.
I was gonna say, I think Steam controllers are banned from some games for being too easy.
I think, you know, games that play around with new control schemes are really interesting to me for that reason, you know.
Practicing your nollie kickflips. I'm Session and Skater Tail.
I'm sorry. As this was happening, I was like, I already know I'm gonna have no explanation when we do commentary. I just could not fucking do this challenge for whatever reason. And then finally, when I do it, I blow it out of the water. Like, I could not get 350 points no matter what. And then when I finally do it, I get like 550.
Well, you know what you did is you did the trick. You know, that's all you had to do.
You did the trick.
Yeah, come on. You just had. I don't know, dude. The points are weird in this game because, like I said, speed is a big factor, and how much speed constitutes how much points on my grind is not exact science to me.
It can be very variable too on how much you can get out of it and such. You'll be like, how come I did a? You'll be like, how come I did like a nollie 360 hard flip and I got like 10 points? Because I was standing still versus moving like 3 inches and suddenly getting 500 points for it. Like, these challenges just kind of suck. They're very inconsistent. I love the spot challenges at least.
Skate 1 is kind of like, whose line is it anyway? Everything's made up and the points really matter.
The spot is completely done.
Wow.
Yeah, like whenever people talk about how fondly they love Skate, it was never the missions they were talking about, it was the sandbox. So anyone who's like, you can't say that this game's missions, no one's gonna say that. Everyone who played this game thinks these missions suck. Nobody liked the missions, they just liked the sandbox sim.
We'll see. I'm sure we'll get a bunch of people in the comments, and you know what? They're entitled to their opinion.
Again, like, there are things that are really good with the missions in this game, like the spots, the death races and such. Sometimes the photo shoots can even be enjoyable, but yeah, when they want you to do something specific or get a massive score or whatever, it can be a real pain in the ass. But I said it before, I'll say it again. It has flaws, but it has a lot of good merits that make it a pretty damn good game.
Yeah.
Well,
like at the time it came out, it had an unparalleled Skate sandbox that maybe not it's unparalleled now that there's, you know, 2 other in the series, but when this came out, this was the one that had the unparalleled Skate sandbox, and that's what everyone loved it for.
Yeah, and among games named Skate, I think this one's probably the best. Like, not Skate 1, 2, and 3. I mean, specifically games named just Skate.
Yeah, there's a reason why Thrasher wants to get involved in this.
Yeah.
Though, I mean, obviously it naming itself just Skate did contribute to that, you know, weird bit where games were trying to make the simplest titles ever.
This sucked too because Google wasn't as good back then.
Anyone else remember Wet?
I remember Wet.
It was just called Wet.
Dude, I remember you had to search EA's Skate is what you had to search. If you just search Skate, you didn't get this game on Google.
Yeah, I was kind of like, what do I name my video titles? Do I name them EA Skate Part 1? Do I name it just Skate Part 1? Do I name it Skate 1 Part 1? you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I like the game Wet, but man, the name was just nonsense.
I didn't like the game Wet.
And
the name was also nonsense.
I just remember that being the middle point in my mind of, you know, games trying to have really short one-word titles.
Yeah. What other ones? It was Wet, Skate. What else was there? I'm trying to think.
Haze.
Any other ones?
Haze. Yeah.
Haze. Yep. Haze.
I mean,
just kind of across that
2008,
Gen
right?
7, you know.
I think a lot of that, especially in first-person shooters and third-person shooters, a lot of that came from the success of Halo, right? A
yeah.
title like Halo Combat evolved, right? But then Halo 2, Halo 3, you know, Halo : subtitle was like the thing. And so people were like, okay, well, if we're going to start a groundbreaking series, we better start it with a one-word simple title.
It's funny you say that, Bob, because Hayes was supposed to be the Halo
The
killer.
Halo killer, yeah.
The PS3 Halo
And
killer.
instead it killed its developer.
Instead it killed...
R.I.P. Free Radical.
Yeah.
Maybe Time
damn,
Splitters
dude.
4 will join Skate 4 one day and potentially coming out.
Yeah.
Also, I guess
I'm
I'll bring
really
up
looking
another game that's like one word sort of deal. Fear for a horror game.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
Fear. That was a little earlier than this, though.
That one, they kind of snuck in more words, though. Fear also
Yeah.
stood for First Encounter Assault Recon. Although, again, that name doesn't tell you anything. First Encounter Assault Recon? What?
Yeah,
That's everything. That's doing all the jobs.
Yeah, they're the first encounter, and they
They're the
assault
ones first on the
and
scene,
recon.
and they assault, and they're also doing the reconnaissance work before.
You gotta mine and craft, okay?
Yeah. Oh my god, Minecraft. Come on.
Fear, and then Fear 2, which had its own naming thing, and then,
And then for
Threer.
3 year.
Fear.
For 3 year.
All right. So we got a
love
shoe
the
sponsor
three.
as well.
Oh,
I
hell
picked
yeah.
what, like Osiris? Like, I genuinely have no opinion about wheel sponsors, truck sponsors, shoe sponsors, you know.
I've never even heard of any of these.
Right. But, yeah, so we advanced both Skateboard Mag and Thrasher up a bit. So we'll be just continuing now to advance stuff and get more coverage. Yeah, next time on Skate.